Alright guys, I haven't done this in a little while, but I'm headed out today. It's a Sunday, rainy Sunday morning. I'm headed to go rescue a bike. I haven't purchased another bike in a few months, but going to try to get one and try to save it, see if we can get it back on the road and back in use. I like to do this, and you know, some people rescue cars, some people rescue houses. I like to rescue motorcycles that are not being used anymore and maybe have been sitting for a while, and that's kind of how this one is. So we're gonna go. I'm probably not gonna do any video along the way just because it's just a rainy, nasty day. It's about 2 hours from my house, so we're gonna get going and see if we can rescue this bike. All right, as you can see, it's still raining, but here's the bike, 2001 Kawasaki Vulcan. So it's gonna be the next bike to work on here, see if we can get cleaned up. Probably gonna be a flip, but not sure. We'll see what we can do with it. Never had a cruiser bike before, so might try it out a little bit, see how it goes, see how I like it. I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna get it off the little trailer into the garage here. All right guys, so here's the Vulcan 800. Now we're gonna just go over and look at things cosmetically. I kind of did that on another video. I'm not sure how I'm gonna post these videos, but if you've already seen this, sorry. But we're gonna start at the top. You can see this bike is in pretty good shape. The paint doesn't look terrible. It's a little rough, a little buffing out would be good for it, and you know, make it look a lot nicer. All right guys, I just wanted to pause the video there for a minute. I just want to go over a couple things that I've decided to do on this bike. I wanted to do this bike as kind of a more of a non-running, maybe buy for the first time bike purchase, that somebody who has a little mechanical ability could buy something for a really cheap price and have a really nice bike out of it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this if this is your first bike ever and you're itching to get on the road right away. It might be a little discouraging to have to do some work like this, and you might be a little bit lost. But if you have some mechanical ability, able to read a manual, follow some YouTube videos, you can find a nice non-running bike like this one and have it as your first time rider. And that's how I kind of did this second part of the video. I hope you like it. It almost feels like somebody has repainted this tank, but I'm not sure if it came factory. That way you can feel the little bit of groove in it. You know, this may be considered Kawasaki's budget bike, and so their finish may not have been as nice as, say, my Z900 RS, which the paint is amazing on. But so we're going to start up here at the mirrors. Mirrors look pretty good. A little bit of surface rust up here where it's been sitting. We'll work on cleaning that up. It looks like maybe these lights have been rewired. I don't know if these are factory up here. I thought the factory ones came down on the fork tubes, but maybe somebody's changed these out. I don't really like how the wiring is just run down here and hanging, but we can fix that pretty easy. Same with this one over here. Little bit of surface rust on some of the bolts up here on the master cylinder and here on this mirror as well. Now this throttle side is missing the cap at the end. Again, no real big deal. The headlight looks like somebody's tried to repaint it. The paint is chipping off of the chrome and a little bit of surface rust there. So we're probably gonna just strip this off and repaint this as well. And same with the fork tubes down here. I don't know if you can see on this side, it's a little dark. We'll go over here. It's got some rock chips and things. It looks like somebody may have repainted this. It may have been factory, not really sure on that. But look for things like that, cosmetic things that, you know, you could work to your advantage and tell the seller, say, hey, look, you know, if you got some cosmetic stuff here, I'm gonna, you know, would you knock a little bit off for that? And sometimes they will. But there's no oil running down like the fork tubes are leaking, so that's one thing you want to check. The brakes, I have not gotten in there and looked at the brakes yet. It's kind of dark on this side. We'll do that a little bit later. But try to get in there and check your pads if you can. Look for leaks around your calipers. This one's not leaking, so it looks pretty good. Little dent here on the tank on both sides. It looks like the something has come back and hit that. Probably something on this fork tube. Probably this clip or something. A little bit of surface rust on the fan down here. But just look for leaks. And this bike was really clean. I don't see any leaks on it. I know the guy that had it, his dad was, looked like he might have been a motorcycle mechanic or maintained bikes. So he had taken some time, and he had told me that he had to pull this carb once before because it was doing the same thing, and clean the carb out. So those are little hints that might help you along the way on knowing why the bike won't run. And this one here actually has a nice Mustang seat on it. I'm not sure how much these seats run, but I know it's an aftermarket seat. And I've sat on the bike. It's pretty comfy. I've never actually owned a cruiser bike. I've ridden some before, and I wasn't really crazy about the style of it, but I was like, you know what? Let's try one out and see if we like it. And you know, maybe along the way we'll add one to the stable, or maybe this one will be the one that sticks around. Not sure. But then go down to the chain, and I'll grab a light here and look at the chain, and you can see down here this chain is rusty. It's been sitting for a while. The guy that had it was his starter bike. He rode it for 2 years, and then he bought a new bike, and his sister actually learned how to ride on this bike before he sold it. One thing about it, I haven't checked the date codes on these tires, but the tires look brand new. So that's a win. Hopefully they're good and they won't, won't have to replace them. I'll check the date codes on it. This one also, the rear fender looks like, I can't tell for sure, because it should have a seat up here that for the passenger that covers all this. So I don't know if these are little factory imperfections that they didn't really care about because it was covered by a seat. It should go up here for the passenger, or I guess it should go right here for the passenger, so it would cover all this, because back in here looks fine except for this little bit of rust from where they had a cover on it, and that cover rubbed back and forth and wore the paint off. So I'm gonna have to touch that up. But that's another way to get money off of a bike when you're buying it. Ask them about this. Say, hey, some imperfections in it, and the tires, the rims look good, dirty but good. Frame, it's kind of dull but not too bad. Exhaust, a lot of rust on the exhaust. We're gonna clean those up. This does have aftermarket Cobra pipes on it. But I tell you, one thing I was impressed with is the chrome. The chrome really looks good. I'm not a chrome person, but man, this chrome really looks nice on this bike, and looks like it doesn't have any surface rust or anything on it. It does have an upgraded K&N filter on it. Bottom foot controls. Brake's a little sticky, so we're going to go through and lube that all up, clean that up. And they ran a breather down here from, why'd my mind just go blank, but the breather from the crankcase, they have it run down here, and I don't like that. We're going to get rid of that probably and move that. Looks like, I don't like how the horn sits down in here. So maybe we're going to see if we can reposition that horn somewhere. But then on the front rims, there's some surface rust on it as well. We'll see if we can clean this stuff up and get these looking nice. And for a little bit of work, a little bit of elbow grease, you can have a really nice looking bike. I think this bike looks really good. for its age. It's 2001, and miles. It has 34,000 miles on it, which is kind of high for a bike, but not for these Japanese bikes. These things, they run forever. And so that's what we're starting with. And like I said, I got it for $640. I think it was a good buy. These are not real expensive bikes. You can pick these up in really good shape for under $2,000 probably. But this one, I want to show you what you can get if you just want to put a little bit of work in and have a really nice cruising bike that's really reliable for not a lot of money. So hang with me. We're going to go over this and go over a lot more of the little details in videos to come. So please like, please subscribe, and we're going to have more on this bike and do some of the maintenance on it.